Years, I've heard a number of employers in the region talk about the quality of students that they got from ETSU's computing program. And just recently, or recent years, the computing program at ETSU has been rated the #1 program among universities in the state of Tennessee. And so I felt for some time this would be a good program. Know more about it, particularly since I'm not a tech person myself and all, but and I also thought it'd be very timely since all of a sudden we're hearing a lot about cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and supposedly one or two of them, or maybe both, are going to be able to explain to us as average people what artificial intelligence does. We'll see how that goes, but it is a pleasure to introduce our speaker today. And actually, I'm going to introduce Dr. Bennett, and he's going to introduce Dr. Husari. But Dr. Brian Bennett is the chair of the ETSU Computing Department and also an associate professor at ETSU. He's a native of Kingsport. He's a Sullivan South graduate. He has a BS and an MS in computer science from ETSU. And he also worked in the ETSU IT department or organization for about 10 years while he was getting a PhD in computer science from Nova Southeastern University in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So he specializes in the areas of computer science, software engineering, artificial intelligence, and I'm going to let him introduce Dr. Husari after that, if that's okay. So it's my pleasure to welcome to the club Dr. Brian Bennett.
All right, it's great to be here in Kingsport. I lived here for a long time and moved to Johnson City, a few years ago. But my mother still lives here, my sister lives here, so a lot of my family is still here, so it's great to be here. So I'm just going to give you kind of an overview of what we do in the Department of Computing, but I wanted to start with the idea that business and computing actually drives business. So there are many things that we can think about today that we couldn't do without the computer and without some of the things that it allows us to do. So first thing is we can increase our efficiency and our productivity. We can enhance our decision-making processes with computer technology. It's a lot easier now than shuffling through a lot of paperwork that we would have otherwise. The other things are improving communication and collaboration. Who would have thought, 3 or 4 years ago now, when this COVID-19 hit, that we could continue having business and continue doing the things that we do through the communication media that we have. Enhancing our customer experiences is also something that computing technology allows us to do by looking at what it is that customers need, and we can see that through the data that we have, the data that we collect. The other thing is innovation and agility. So the advent of artificial intelligence and things like that, and really the pervasiveness of those things, allow us to find things in our businesses that we might not have ever thought of before. These things can bring to the forefront something that we may have never considered or may have never even dreamed that was possible. So AI can do that for us. But I want to talk a little bit about some of the tools that we have today for business, and then go into what our program offers. So one of the first things is advanced data analytics. Providing a lot of data as input into a computer system can now allow you to find things in the data that you did not know was there. So it's very important for businesses now to utilize that data as a resource rather than simply having it sit around. We're collecting all this data, what do we do with it? Now it's much, much easier for you to use it in a very specific way. Dr. Husari will talk about some of these applications in just a few moments. Artificial intelligence and machine learning. That is how you do advanced data analytics. So the process of using artificial intelligence and learning concepts, much, much easier today than it was. blockchain technology. You've heard of cryptocurrency. That's one of the applications of blockchain technology, but that's not the only application. You can use blockchain technology just to prove connections between different things along that chain. So it can be very important for businesses, for signatures, for example. You could even use it in an application like that. So that's becoming more and more pervasive. Cloud and edge computing. Data centers have gotten smaller because cloud applications have gotten larger. So we're letting other people now handle our data for us in cloud and edge computing facilities. Enhanced cybersecurity. We have threats all the time. People are trying to hack into our networks. They're trying to get at the data that we have. And we have to find new and innovative ways to protect those. And finally, Internet of Things is something that, actually it's not finally, I've got one more after this. Internet of Things is something that you may not think about. Devices are collecting data all the time. Sensors are everywhere, and those sensors are producing data that gets collected, and then that data needs to be analyzed. So Internet of Things technology is great for businesses in a lot of applications. And then virtual and augmented reality. So virtual reality, we've seen the headsets. One of our departments at ETSU is working with East Tennessee Children's Hospital right now to do augmented reality and virtual reality, where they are teaching them how to use crash carts, for example, for people who need to learn how to do defibrillation. So it's very wide open in this area now. But I want to describe a little bit about who we are, and I'm going to go through this quickly so Dr. Husari has some time to talk about some of the applications. So we started as a program in 1972 in the Department of Mathematics at ETSU. The Department of Computer and Information Sciences was created in 1977, and I pulled out this quote because I think it's important to realize why we were created in the first place. So it says, classically, computer science programs have been oriented toward mathematical sciences, and while the need for some graduates and the emphasis is recognized by the inclusion of computer science as an option, it is becoming increasingly obvious that the primary demand in computer science is for people who can use the computer as a tool in business applications, such as accounting, finance, marketing, inventory control. And that list has grown over the years, right? This is the reason the Department of Computing was created, specifically for these business applications. And that, I think, what we've done a really good job at over the years. So we have really several programs and several areas of emphasis. Our undergraduate is called Bachelor of Science in Computing with 4 separate concentrations. We have concentrations in standard computer science. We have a newer concentration in cybersecurity and modern networks. We have information systems, which is more the business computing. People who have used SAP understand what that is. Information technology, where you're doing things like full stack development on websites. So from the user experience all the way down to the backside of that website, controlling the data. We have a minor in computing, where that can be tailored to any of these areas, and students who are in a different background can take this computing minor and enhance their studies with that. One of our initiatives that we have with a business currently is Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee in Chattanooga. We actually teach on-site at their headquarters. And this is a really innovative program. It's something that not many people have tried in the United States, but the company is all in with this. They were looking for a partner who could be innovative and agile with this process. So we were able to, with them, create a program using our information systems degree where the students matriculate and graduate within 27 months. So it's very innovative. we use this idea called intrusive advising. That's where the advisor is right there with them every step of the way. And the intention is to get 100% of those students through the program and graduated by the end of it. And at the end of it, there's a job offer with Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's not required currently for them to work for Blue Cross Blue Shield, but there will be an offer at the end. It's also no cost. We've been able to raise money for that program through the Blue Cross Blue Shield Foundation. The governor's office has granted $1 million toward this program, and we're using that to go toward student costs. So the first cohort started this past fall, and the second cohort starts in August. So we're looking forward to that. And it's also on-the-job training. We have on-the-job training through internships with that program as well. So it's very innovative and interesting. We have 2 graduate programs and a graduate certificate in our department. The first is the graduate program in computer science, which has several areas of emphasis, including artificial intelligence, machine learning, software engineering. One of our more popular offerings now is our graduate certificate in data analytics. It teaches people who may be from different disciplines or different backgrounds how to use the data that they have, or how to better review the data that they have and find trends within it and so forth. And then information systems is the other area, which is more oriented toward the business side of things. So we have cybersecurity management, which is, understanding what you need to do in order to make cybersecurity and keep your data safe. Make cybersecurity happen, keep your data safe. Data analytics is basically the same as our certificate, but it also has other courses surrounding it to make a more well-rounded individual. Information management and user experience engineering is all about how to present data to people and then control that data on the backside. So we have a lot of faculty because we have a lot of students. We've got 28 faculty coming up in fall 2023. 24 on the main campus. We'll have 4 on the Blue Sky campus in Chattanooga. We've got 6 staff members that contribute to our program. Some of you may be familiar with our PASTA program. PASTA is providing area schools with technology assistance. And that program takes computers that have been used at ETSU and then provides them to area schools that may not have the ability to have computers otherwise. So we have a really good program there. We, in this past academic year, we served 498 majors. So that's a very large department. We're a top 5 department at ETSU. Most of those majors are in computer science, but that's a little misleading because generally what happens is people start out in computer science and then they switch to another one later on. 940 undergraduate students took our major classes this academic year. So not only are we serving our own students, we're also serving students across campus. We served a total of 3,413 undergraduate students through our undergraduate course using information technology, which all students at ETSU take. Our graduate program, our Blue Sky program, I guess, first, 32 students started that program in the fall. We have a 91% retention rate at this point. We've only lost 3 of them, so that intrusive advising is working. And we have 30 students coming in cohort 2, so that program will be growing as well. At the graduate level, 121 students, which is more than double what we used to have. More than double. It's almost triple what we used to have. So computing is growing, and the opportunities with computing are growing. And I think students are starting to realize that. So we are computing. And we want to serve others. We want to be a service industry, and that's what computing really has turned into over the years. It's not simply, us solving computing problems. It's us solving problems for everyone. And Dr. Husari came to us in 2019, just before COVID hit, from the University of North Carolina at Charlotte, after completing his PhD there. Before that, he was his school was University of Science and Technology in Jordan, right? So he's got a lot of experience, both in industry, in the area of cybersecurity and data analytics. So he takes those two areas and kind of merges those together. So I think some of the things that he's going to tell you is some of the things that all of these programs benefit from, because we have students who are highly interested and highly capable of doing a lot of things with the things we teach in the classroom. So, Dr. Husari.
This one. Thank you. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. And thank you, Dr. Bennett. In short, the new technology has been going towards automation, AI-driven automation. How can we make the machine think and make decisions quickly? While humans might be able to arrive at conclusion and deduct next steps rather quickly, better than a machine, over time, machines become much quicker and better than humans at making decisions. Now, this is good and bad. One of the things that we might have noticed that many jobs were eliminated because AI now can do them. For example, in the movie industry, long time ago, 10 to 12 people used to work only on the camera, like how to use the angles of camera, how to make several cameras work together so directors can choose which camera took the best angle, let's say, for a certain scene. Now only 3 people do that because the AI now can manage most of these cameras. So you need people basically to do cat herding, or let's say they observe and monitor how the AI works and they do some tuning to that. So loss of jobs is one of the things that AI has caused. Another thing is, with the rise of deep learning, machines have become really good at making decisions. This was in 2012. Neural nets or neural networks has been introduced, and machines have become really good at making decisions. Now, here is the scary part about neural nets. Neural nets, we know that it's very smart, but we really don't know how it made a certain decision. That's the difference between deep learning and AI. In AI, like decision trees, naive Bayes, all these applied statistical models, we know how the decision was deducted by the machine. So if a machine makes a decision, I can walk you through the math how that decision was made. In a neural net, I can't. Nobody can. When the algorithm makes a decision, we know it's mostly correct and it's very smart. We know it's the good decision, but we don't know how it made that decision. Some people even defending their PhDs, when they came to that part, they would say something like, we went through some black magic and then we came up with this decision. Because really, we don't know. We cannot explain how the machine made that decision. We just know it's very good. And everybody's using it, like autopiloting car, machines at hospitals that try to help with patient diagnosis. So it's being used everywhere. The process is very simple. AI around 2010 switched from classical AI, where human experts augment their knowledge. It became data-driven. What does data-driven mean? It means I collect a lot of data about you, how you swipe your cards at Target, your online activity, your GPS on the phone, your car driving activity, insurance deductions, so you can drive around. You get a deduction, but also you give them the data. Using all of that data, the AI consume it and start learning about who are these humans, building a profile for each person and predicting future interests of that person. So the big data comes through the network. This is insurance, internet activity, calls, SMS that we send. Everybody is now buying and selling data. It's the age of data. After that, we must do some kind of pattern discovery. Do we see certain patterns? For example, where does that person park every day? At what time do they leave their home? These are generic patterns. Over time, we can really do that very well. As a matter of fact, in my master thesis, what I did is predict how people drive around and make decisions how their phones should connect to the internet. So it works with more than 90% accuracy. We can predict actually what people like, don't like, and how they do micro actions, like how they drive around, and macro actions, like strategically, what do they do? How do they behave on a Friday? How does that differ from Sunday? How can we do targeted ad campaigns to cater for these behaviors? And finally, we arrive at the process of evaluation, visualization, and interpretation. All right, so this is one of my projects. This project started, I think, 2019, 2020. This is with COVID. So here is what we did. We came up with an idea. Let's build a small robot. We actually built this robot in an ETSU theme, you can say. So what does this robot means? Basically, it's a small computer right here. It's called Raspberry Pi. Probably some of you worked on it. We bought a camera. This camera is for $34, something like that. And we put a wireless card on it, and we put a car under it. So it's just a few simple items. What does this robot do? We put some neural network on it, deep learning algorithm. What does this algorithm do? This robot is used at campus. The robot looks like this. It's on the ground. It's very short. I know it would be cool to build another Terminator, you know, that in that shape, but it's not. It's a small robot like that. What does it do? The robot actually can recognize humans, like you see here, with over 95%, like 90 to 95% accuracy. So the robot can recognize all of us here. It doesn't know who we are, but it knows this person is a human, this person is a human, this is a table. Because you can see here, look here, it recognizes the baseball glove with 98% accuracy. So it really recognizes many things, not just a human. All right, look at this person behind the fence. Look all the way behind the fence. So the deep learning is excellent at doing this. Do we know exactly how it recognizes these people? No. What we did, you feed it large number of images and telling it, this is a human, this is a human, this is a human. Over time, it becomes very smart. It doesn't need us anymore. It can recognize people without a human help. All right. So, oops, I think I'm going back. There we go. So after that, we said we want only to crop the face of the human. We don't need the human body. We had a certain objective. What we wanted to do, we wanted to recognize people and staff who are not wearing masks. You know, this was the pandemic time. People aren't yet used to wearing masks, so we wanted the robot just to sound an alarm to tell people, hey, you're not wearing a mask. That's basically what we wanted the robot to do. So we used this face detection algorithm called MTCNN. Again, the NN stands for neural net, the deep learning. And after we recognized the face, we simply used another thing called mobile net, which is another form of neural net, another form of deep learning. And this deep learning recognized people who are not wearing a mask and people who are wearing a mask. We used it at the campus. These are the images. We collected 1,300 facial images of students, and 690 were masked, 686 were not masked. Oh, I think this thing just died. Okay. Oops. I think the technology just died.
That's what it's done on this slide.
Oh, is that what happened with your machine? Okay.
The
Oh, is that the PDF? Okay. Okay. Oh, can I use this?
I think so.
Let me see. Into this thing. Okay, I don't think I can use this anymore.
Go ahead.
Okay, no, that's okay. Oops, but they cannot see it. Maybe we need to move it on. That's going to be a problem, my friend. Yes, double click and think now. How can we do full screen, you know? Okay. Is this? Oh, let me check. Okay, that's better. All right. We're back in. I think the machine did not like. I'm talking bad about. Okay. All right. So in a nutshell, our project looked like this. First, the robot is taking images. Now, images is a huge data. It might not seem so, but actually the camera, even a cheap camera, a $30 camera, takes over 60 images per second. So a person like who's walking in a hallway spends about 12 seconds within the camera vision. 12 seconds, that's a lot. You're saying 12 multiplied by 60. That's a lot of data, and these are high-res images. So what do? We actually used an AI model, a neural net model called RetinaNet. RetinaNet can throw away all the images that do not have a human in them. So it's very important. By the way, we throw over 99% of the data like that, because most of the data is not useful, right? You need to throw it away, and that's what we did. No human detected, delete that. Then we used multitask convolutional neural net to recognize human faces. After that, we use neural net, the classical deep learning, to recognize people with a mask and people who are not wearing a mask. What does the accuracy look like? Like, how did we do here? The accuracy, actually, if you stand within 3 feet from the robot, we almost do that with 100% accuracy, almost 100%. We can tell this person is wearing a mask and this person is not wearing a mask. When you're within 3 to 7 feet, the accuracy drops a little bit. I think it's 96%. And then when you're more than 7 feet away, the accuracy actually drops a lot. It drops to 60, 70, and sometimes 80%. So what is different about this project? Most projects out there, they do it with the camera right in your face. I'm not sure how is that useful. Like, how can you use that in a company? Like, you're not going to follow people around with a camera, right? Like, it's easier to hire somebody to just tell them, hey, wear a mask. But this robot can do it by itself. So the person who did this project, Chase Snyder, one of my undergrad students, he's now, he achieved many things. Like before even, he's not yet graduated, but he actually, this opened so many doors for them, and now he's doing 2 jobs in working with data before getting his bachelor's. Because what? The companies no longer care anymore about that, about degrees. Of course, they want you to have a degree, but it's more important what kind of a skill set you have, because the industry is so starved for people with high technical skills when it comes to machine learning and cybersecurity. All right, another project of mine is for Abigail. One of the most effective cybersecurity attacks is called denial of service, or distributed denial of service. Distributed denial of service is where you send large number of requests, millions and millions of requests. Imagine this. Imagine if you receive 2 million SMS messages on your phone. What's going to happen? Like, how are you going to handle that? Because you use your phone to receive messages and send messages. But if I send you 2 million messages, how are you going to process that? Probably you're going to put your phone on the side and leave it alone, right? That's what we do, because we can't deal with that. Well, All our systems have that aspect in one way or another. You can send it millions and millions of requests. And one of them is, this kind of attack is called denial of service attacks. So how can we protect ourselves against denial of service? Like, this is important. So what Abigail did, she created a network and started sending and receiving packets. Now, when you send and receive the data looks like this. For example, if you're streaming YouTube, if you're browsing your bank application, the data looks like this. Like, you send a request, then you send a small request, then you receive a bigger one, then a smaller one. That's how human beings do. Like, if you go to the street now and observe cars, you're gonna have a truck, then a small car, then a bicycle, then you're gonna see that. That's basically what normal traffic looks like, right? And on the internet, in the wire or wireless, it looks also like that. So what we actually did, imagine this. Imagine you're running a party. You have a party and people are gonna come to your place, to your house. Imagine if you see thousands and thousands of Toyota Camry cars, exact weight, exact height, exact width, and exact time between any two cars coming across the street. Do you think that's normal? Like, if you see thousands of cars? And actually, in Abigail's thesis, she discovered that, wait a minute, when it's a cyber attack, actually things look a lot more artificial. The data looks the same. The time between the data, remember, we can't look inside because it's encrypted. Everything is encrypted, right? You can't read other people's data. So we can't look inside these boxes. But what we can do is measure their length, height, the time between any two packets. And in her thesis, she discovered actually the red traffic, the malicious traffic, looks differently from a normal traffic being done by a human being. And using this data, she built a machine learning model, and she extracted a lot of features. For example, I'm not going to go through this, but for example, this is the average packet size, like the average car weight, if we're going to go back to the car example. She measured a lot of things, and based on those, she discovered actually she can catch 50 to 70% of denial of service attacks. Now, just to give you measuring, let's say, a benchmark, denial of service attacks are effective 60 to 70%, which means you can attack any institution with denial of service attacks, and you probably will be 60% successful. That's the, it happened with Netflix, it happened with Amazon, and it happens a lot. In 2017, we had a blackout in the US because of similar attacks. Basically, they did it on an electricity company, and attackers caused a blackout. All right, so before I wrap up, I just want to show something. I want to talk about very small. Can we build an AI model to make this attack looks like this? Instead of sending 2 million Toyota Camry black cars, we make a model to distribute and imitate human. Can we do that? Absolutely. Absolutely. So this actually shows me something else. Another student of mine, Hannah Taylor, what she did, if you ever use a voice command on your phone or on your Google Home or on Alexa, you say, hey Alexa, add this to my calendar or something like that. What we actually did, we made the machine make these commands. Machines can do that very well. And Hannah's thesis was to detect what's a machine and what's a human. Why? Because a biological voice that comes out of a real human has different waves than something that comes mechanically from a mechanical device. As a human ear, we can't hear that, but the machine actually can hear the difference. And in her thesis, she was 70% successful to detect what came from a machine and what came from a human, based on how it hits the air differently, based on how it makes waves differently. Now, can we make the machine imitate humans more? Absolutely, we can do that. You lower the voice so much to the point that the machine cannot tell what's a machine and what's a human. So this, I'm going to wrap up with this. We are using AI here for good, right? To detect face masks or lack of them, to detect denial of service attack, or to detect what's a human and what's a machine, voice authentication, if you will. Can we use that for bad? Absolutely. We can imitate behaviors that make it hard for the models that we built to detect what's going on. Actually, Geoffrey Hinton, the person who created neural net in 2012, Geoffrey Hinton, he's the godfather of neural net, or deep learning, if you will. He created that in 2012. Last week, he quit his job at Google. He no longer works at Google. You can Google it. He quit Google. Why? Because he feels the AI is dangerous. And I'm quoting him right now. He says, "I regret some of my contributions to the field." This is a glaring red flag for everybody who works in this domain, that yes, all of our worries are actually confirmed. AI can be used for bad. If you YouTube, last month, there is something we call it the deep fake. Deep fake basically means, if I record a video of yourself, I can make the machine take that video, the angles of your face, I've used it myself, it's available for everybody, to generate a new video based on a script that I write. So the person can be talking about something that they never did. That's called the deep fake. So, in short, soon we will not know or trust what we hear. In that scam, a scammer called a mom using her daughter's voice and says she's been kidnapped and her mom needs to pay a certain amount. Her mom was calling her daughter, her cell is not answering. Until she answered, she was skiing. She wasn't in any sort of bad situation, but the attacker used deep fake. So when I tell you AI is being used now, deep fake, deep learning is being used now here, it's actually happening, and you can see it on the news. So how can we protect ourselves against that? Unfortunately, we have little defense against that. We don't have that yet. And that's why people are quitting. By the way, Hinton, or Geoffrey Hinton, is not the only person who quit. If you Google it, 2 of his students quit from Google too. So many people are quitting. There is a list now of people who fear the AI because we don't have defense against it. How can we defend against that? So hopefully, we're going to continue to work on this domain to know how to defend against AI too. But in short, cybersecurity analytics, basically what I showed today, how to use AI for cybersecurity, is something that cannot be outsourced. No country can outsource their security to another country. That's not how it works. You need to have cybersecurity, very strong degrees on ground, so you can teach people how to use that, because we can't outsource that, right? So that's basically what we're doing at ETSU. We teach like cybersecurity, we teach machine learning, and cybersecurity analytics, how to use machine learning for cybersecurity. Thank you very much, and if you have any